Have you ever stood in a grocery store and witnessed a scene that stopped you in your tracks? Perhaps it was an older gentleman, his hands trembling slightly as he reached for a can of soup on a high shelf, a look of quiet frustration clouding his features. Or maybe you saw an elderly woman at a family gathering, a loving smile on her face, yet a flicker of confusion in her eyes as she struggled to place the name of her own grandchild. These moments, fleeting and common, are often dismissed as the inevitable, sorrowful footnotes of a long life. We see them, we feel a pang of sympathy, and we move on, quietly hoping that our own twilight years will be different. But what if these struggles are not inevitable? What if they are not random acts of fate, but rather the visible symptoms of underlying habits and abilities that have slowly eroded over time? Imagine for a moment a different scene. Picture an 85-year-old woman, let's call her Eleanor, gracefully navigating a crowded farmer's market in a bustling California town. She moves with a confident, steady stride, her eyes bright with curiosity as she inspects a vibrant bundle of kale. She laughs with the vendor, easily recalling a recipe she wants to try, her memory as sharp and colorful as the produce around her. Later that day, she might lead a book club discussion, expertly guiding the conversation, or perhaps spend an afternoon in her garden, her hands deftly tending to her beloved rose bushes. Eleanor is not a fantasy. She is a reality for a growing number of people who have discovered that the quality of our later years is not a lottery, but a masterpiece painted with the brushstrokes of our daily choices. What is the profound difference between the struggling gentleman in the grocery store and the vibrant Eleanor at the market? It lies in a set of foundational pillars, 6 crucial abilities that are often overlooked in our youth-obsessed culture, but are the very bedrock of a long, healthy, and joy-filled existence. This article is a deep dive into those 6 abilities. We will move far beyond simplistic advice and explore the intricate web of physical, mental, and emotional skills that separate a life of mere survival from one of thriving well into one's 80s, 90s, and even beyond. These are not about genetic luck or miracle cures. They are about learnable, cultivatable practices that have the power to fundamentally reshape your relationship with aging. We will unpack the science, share relatable stories, and provide you with a roadmap to build these pillars in your own life starting today. This journey we are about to embark on is not just for those approaching their senior years. It is for anyone at any age who wishes to invest in a future defined by strength, clarity, and connection. It is about understanding the secret signs that predict not just more years in your life, but more life in your years. As we begin this exploration, consider the people you know who are aging with exceptional grace and vitality. What qualities do they possess? Share one observation about a vibrant older person you admire in the comments below. Your insights can help all see the path more clearly. This collective wisdom is a powerful tool, and by sharing, we begin to rewrite the narrative of aging. The first pillar, the quiet power of unwavering balance. The first and perhaps most visually striking ability that distinguishes a truly healthy octogenarian from their struggling peers is the mastery of physical balance. This may sound deceptively simple, like a party trick of standing on one leg. However, the capacity to stand firm, to walk across an uneven lawn without a second thought, or to rise from a chair with fluid grace is a profound testament to a body and mind working in beautiful harmony. It is a silent symphony conducted by an intricate network of systems, and its presence or absence speaks volumes about one's overall health and future longevity. When we observe someone with excellent balance, We are witnessing the seamless integration of three critical biological systems. The first is the vestibular system, a complex labyrinth of tiny canals and sensors nestled deep within the inner ear. This system acts as the body's internal gyroscope, constantly sending signals to the brain about the head's position and movement in space. It tells you if you are upright, tilted, accelerating, or turning. The second component is our vision. Our eyes provide a constant stream of information about the horizon, the texture of the ground, and our relationship to the objects around us, offering a visual anchor that helps the brain make sense of it all. Finally, and crucially, is the system of proprioception, the body's own subliminal self-awareness. Millions of nerve endings in our muscles, tendons, and joints are perpetually reporting back to the brain, detailing the precise location, tension, and movement of every limb. When you can close your eyes and still touch your nose with your finger, you are experiencing the magic of proprioception. A person with excellent balance has a brain that is expertly processing these three streams of data, from the inner ear, the eyes, and the body's tissues in real time, and then sending out lightning-fast commands to hundreds of tiny stabilizer muscles throughout the legs, core, and back. These muscles make infinitesimal adjustments, contracting and relaxing in a constant, subtle dance to keep our center of gravity securely over our base of support. It is an act of neurological and physiological brilliance that we perform thousands of times a day without conscious thought. For many, as the years advance, this symphony begins to lose its rhythm. The signals can become slower, the muscles weaker, the brain's processing speed slightly diminished. This is what leads to the hesitation, the shuffling gait, and the ever-present fear of falling that can so dramatically shrink an older person's world. The consequences of poor balance are far more devastating than a simple stumble. According to the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, falls are the leading cause of injury and injury-related death among adults aged 65 and older. A fall can lead to a fractured hip, a traumatic brain injury, and a cascade of complications that can rob an individual of their independence in an instant. But the physical damage is only half the story. The psychological toll is equally profound. The fear of falling becomes a prison, creating a vicious cycle. An individual becomes afraid to walk, so they move less. As they move less, their muscles weaken and their proprioceptive senses dull further, which in turn makes their balance even worse and their fear even greater. This self-imposed confinement leads to social isolation, a decline in cardiovascular health, and often depression. Their world shrinks from the neighborhood to the house, from the house to a single room, all because the quiet confidence of a steady stance has been lost. Consider the story of James, an 82-year-old retired high school history teacher from suburban Ohio. For years, James had been an avid walker, enjoying long strolls through his neighborhood and the local park. But after a minor stumble on an uneven sidewalk, a seed of fear was planted. He didn't break anything, but his confidence was fractured. He started looking down at his feet constantly, his gait becoming hesitant and shuffling. He began turning down invitations from his friends to go on their weekly hikes, offering excuses about the weather or feeling tired. His world, once expansive and full of movement, was contracting. His daughter, Sarah, noticed the change. She saw not just a physical decline, but a dimming of his spirit. Sarah gently encouraged him to see a physical therapist who explained the beautiful science of balance to him. It wasn't just about his legs being weak, it was about retraining the entire system, the brain, the inner ear, the muscles, to work together again. The therapist started him on a series of simple, safe exercises. He began by standing behind a sturdy kitchen chair, holding on for support, and practicing shifting his weight from one foot to the other. Then he progressed to lifting one foot off the ground for just a few seconds at a time. He learned to do tandem stands, placing one foot directly in front of the other, as if on a tightrope, first with his eyes open, and then, for a brief challenging moment, with them closed. He also incorporated gentle movements from Tai Chi, a practice renowned for its ability to improve balance and body awareness through slow, deliberate, flowing motions. The change wasn't immediate, but over the course of a few months, it was transformative. James felt the return of a physical confidence he thought was gone forever. He could stand at his kitchen counter and reach for something on a high shelf without grabbing onto the counter for dear life. He started joining his friends for walks again, his eyes now looking ahead at the world, not down at his feet. The physical improvement bled into every other aspect of his life. He was more social, more optimistic, and his mood brightened considerably. He realized that balance wasn't just about preventing falls. It was about preserving his freedom, his engagement with the world, and his sense of self. James's story is a powerful testament to the fact that this is not a lost cause. The ability to maintain and even improve balance is within reach for most people at any age. It is the very foundation upon which an active, independent later life is built. That was the first secret, the foundational pillar of physical autonomy. If you find this information about unwavering balance useful and see how it connects to a vibrant life, please comment with the number 1 below to let us know. Your feedback helps us understand what resonates most with you and encourages us to continue creating deeply analytical content. The second pillar, the luminous tapestry of a clear memory. Beyond the physical realm, another powerful indicator of a life destined for healthy longevity lies within the quiet, intricate corridors of the mind, the ability to maintain a clear and reliable memory. This is not merely about acing a trivia game or flawlessly recalling historical dates. It is about the fundamental cognitive vitality that allows an individual to navigate the complexities of daily life, maintain their identity, and stay deeply connected to the people and stories that give life meaning. When an 85-year-old can vividly recount a story from their childhood, remember the details of a recent conversation with a friend, and keep track of their appointments and medications without constant reminders, they are demonstrating a level of brain health that is a powerful predictor of their overall well-being. Memory is not a single, monolithic entity, like a video recorder that either works or doesn't. It is a complex and multifaceted process. Neurologists often speak of different types of memory. There's episodic memory, which holds the stories of our lives, the memory of your first kiss, a family vacation, or what you ate for breakfast this morning. There's semantic memory, our storehouse of general knowledge, the fact that Washington, D.C. is the capital of the United States, or that a dog barks. And there's procedural memory, the memory of how to do things, how to ride a bike, tie your shoes, or type on a keyboard. While some minor changes in memory are a normal part of aging, such as taking a bit longer to recall a name or a word, the ability to preserve the core functions of memory, especially recent episodic memory, is a hallmark of successful cognitive aging. The biological basis for a strong memory lies in the concept of cognitive reserve. Think of it as a kind of mental savings account. Throughout our lives, every time we learn something new, solve a complex problem, or engage in a mentally stimulating activity, we are building stronger, more numerous, and more redundant connections, synapses, between our brain cells, neurons. This dense network of connections creates a cognitive reserve. Later in life, if some neurons are damaged or die off due to the natural aging process or the early stages of a disease, a brain with a high cognitive reserve has a wealth of alternative pathways it can use to bypass the damage and still function effectively. It's like having multiple detour roads available when the main highway is closed. An individual who has spent their life being intellectually curious, reading widely, learning new skills, and engaging in challenging conversations has built a formidable cognitive reserve, making their brain more resilient to the ravages of time. This is why those who thrive into their 80s and beyond are often lifelong learners. They haven't allowed their minds to become passive. The decline in memory that many seniors experience is not just a biological inevitability. It is often exacerbated by a decline in mental activity. When retirement leads to a routine devoid of challenge and new learning, the brain, like an unused muscle, can begin to atrophy. The mantra, "use it or lose it," is nowhere more true than in the realm of cognitive health. Let's consider the story of Martha, an 85-year-old former librarian living in a quiet Vermont town. Martha is a beacon of mental clarity in her community. Her friends marvel at her ability to recall the intricate plots of novels she read decades ago, and to keep track of the birthdays of all her nieces, nephews, and their children. Martha's secret is not a secret at all. It is a conscious daily practice of mental engagement. Her day begins not with television, but with the New York Times crossword puzzle, a ritual she has maintained for over 50 years. She calls it calisthenics for the brain. She also keeps a detailed daily journal, a practice she began after her husband passed away. In it, she doesn't just record events, she reflects on them, describing conversations in detail, wrestling with new ideas she's encountered in her reading, and sketching out plans for her garden. This act of writing forces her to organize her thoughts, retrieve specific details, and solidify new memories. It is a powerful, self-administered cognitive workout. Martha's story highlights a critical psychological dimension. A clear memory is inextricably linked to our sense of self, our identity. We are, in a profound sense, the sum of our memories. When memory fades, a person can feel as if their own story is being erased, leading to a profound sense of loss, confusion, and dependency. A strong memory, conversely, provides a deep sense of competence and continuity. It allows a person to feel grounded in their own life story, to pass on wisdom to younger generations, and to maintain the rich tapestry of relationships that have been woven over a lifetime. Martha's ability to share stories of her past with her grandchildren not only enriches their lives, but also reinforces her own sense of purpose and value. For those who feel their memory starting to slip, the situation is far from hopeless. Just as with physical balance, the brain's memory functions can be strengthened through targeted exercise. Simple practices can make a world of difference. When you meet someone new, try repeating their name silently to yourself, and then using it in conversation. Associate their name with a visual image. If you meet a baker named Bill, picture him with a giant bee made of bread. Practice mindfulness to improve your focus and attention, as many memory lapses are simply failures of attention in the first place. Engage in activities that challenge your brain in novel ways, such as learning a few phrases in a new language, taking up a musical instrument, or even navigating a new part of town without GPS. These activities force the brain to form new neural pathways, building that all-important cognitive reserve. The key is novelty and challenge. Doing the same crossword puzzle is good, but tackling a different kind of puzzle or a new type of learning is even better. A sharp, reliable memory is not a luxury. It is essential for making sound decisions, managing personal affairs, and living a life of dignity and independence. It is a powerful marker of brain health and overall vitality. And fostering this ability through daily practice can pave the way for a vibrant, longer life. If you're finding this exploration of memory and cognitive resilience valuable, please comment with the number 2 below. Your engagement lets us know we're on the right track. And if you haven't already, we invite you to subscribe and turn on notifications. Your support is what allows us to continue creating content designed to inform and inspire a better life. Now, let's move on to the next crucial pillar. The third pillar, the enduring rhythm of consistent physical activity. While our first pillar focused on the specific, refined skill of balance, our third pillar broadens the lens to encompass the overarching habit that supports not only balance, but nearly every aspect of health and longevity, the enduring rhythm of consistent physical activity. It is one thing to be able to perform a balance exercise in the safety of one's living room. It is another, more profound thing to possess the stamina, strength, and will to integrate movement into the very fabric of one's daily life. The seniors who are truly flourishing in their later decades are not the ones who were once star athletes, but the ones who never stopped moving. They are the gardeners, the walkers, the dancers, the swimmers, the individuals who have woven a tapestry of motion into their everyday existence. Many people mistakenly believe that the aches, pains, and general slowing down associated with aging are an unavoidable decree of fate. They surrender to the recliner, accepting a sedentary life as their new normal. This is perhaps one of the most damaging misconceptions about the aging process. While it's true that our bodies change, a vast proportion of what we call age-related decline is, in fact, disuse-related decline. When we stop moving, our muscles atrophy in a process called sarcopenia, leading to weakness and frailty. Our cardiovascular system becomes less efficient, making us feel breathless after minimal exertion. Our bones lose density, increasing the risk of osteoporosis and fractures. Our metabolism slows down, contributing to weight gain and increasing the risk for type 2 diabetes. In essence, a sedentary lifestyle actively accelerates the aging process. Conversely, consistent physical activity acts as a powerful antidote to this decline. It is the closest thing we have to a fountain of youth. Regular movement tells our bodies that they are still needed, still in the game. On a physiological level, the benefits are staggering. Cardiovascular exercise, like brisk walking or swimming, strengthens the heart muscle, improves circulation, lowers blood pressure, and helps maintain healthy cholesterol levels. This reduces the risk of heart attack and stroke, the leading causes of death in the United States. Strength training activities, even simple ones using body weight or light resistance bands, combat sarcopenia by signaling the muscles to rebuild and grow stronger. This preserves mobility, makes daily tasks like carrying groceries or climbing stairs easier, and dramatically reduces the risk of falls. Let's bring this to life with the story of Henry, an 82-year-old retired firefighter from Chicago. Henry spent his career in a physically demanding job, but upon retirement, he, like many, felt the pull of a more leisurely life. He started spending more time reading and watching television. Within a couple of years, he noticed he was getting winded walking up the single flight of stairs in his home. Bending down to tie his shoes felt like a major chore. He felt old. A conversation with his doctor was a wake-up call. The doctor didn't just tell him to exercise more. He explained that Henry's body was responding exactly as it was programmed to, by conserving energy because he was no longer demanding anything of it.
Inspired, but also intimidated, Henry decided to start small. He didn't sign up for a marathon. He committed to walking around the block once every morning. At first, it was a chore, but after a week, it became a habit. Soon, one block became two, and his morning walk became a cherished ritual. He then joined a Silver Sneakers program at his local community center, which offered gentle fitness classes tailored for seniors. He discovered the joys of water aerobics, where the buoyancy of the water supported his joints while providing gentle resistance. He even started a small vegetable garden in his backyard, which involved regular bending, lifting, and stretching. Henry's transformation was about more than just physical fitness. The release of endorphins during his walks and classes elevated his mood, combating the low-grade melancholy that had started to creep in. His improved strength and stamina gave him a renewed sense of capability and independence. He started traveling again with his wife, confident that he could keep up with tour groups and navigate airports without feeling exhausted. Henry's story demolishes the all-or-nothing fallacy that paralyzes so many people. He didn't need to train like a firefighter again. He just needed to be consistent. A 20-minute walk, a half-hour of gardening, or a gentle yoga class, when done regularly, can have a more profound and lasting impact than sporadic, intense workouts. The key is the rhythm, the consistency, the gentle, daily insistence on movement. Furthermore, physical activity has a direct and powerful effect on the brain. When we move, we increase blood flow to the brain, delivering a fresh supply of oxygen and nutrients. Exercise also stimulates the release of a remarkable protein called brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which is often described as miracle grow for the brain. BDNF supports the survival of existing neurons and encourages the growth of new ones, a process known as neurogenesis. It strengthens synapses and plays a crucial role in learning, memory, and higher thinking. Thus, the same walk that strengthens Henry's heart is also fortifying his brain against cognitive decline, creating a powerful synergy between physical and mental well-being. This demonstrates how interconnected these pillars truly are. A commitment to one invariably strengthens the others. Sustaining a rhythm of physical activity is a vital skill for aging well. It is a declaration of intent, an intent to remain engaged, capable, and vibrant. It is about choosing motion over stagnation, strength over frailty, and vitality over decline. It doesn't require a gym membership or expensive equipment. It requires a decision, followed by small, consistent steps day after day. It is about finding joy in the simple, miraculous ability of the human body to move. Does Henry's story of starting small and building a consistent rhythm of activity resonate with you? Perhaps you have your own story of rediscovering movement. Share your thoughts or experiences in the comments section. We'd love to learn from your journey. Your stories inspire and motivate others who might be hesitant to take that first step. The fourth pillar, the anchor of calm resilience in a stormy world. Life at any age is filled with storms. We face challenges, setbacks, losses, and uncertainties. However, as we age, these storms can often feel more frequent and more threatening. Health scares, the loss of loved ones, financial worries, and the daily frustrations of a body that doesn't cooperate as it once did can create a state of chronic stress. This brings us to our fourth and arguably one of the most critical pillars of longevity, the ability to manage stress with a sense of calm resilience. The 80-year-olds who are truly thriving are not those who have lived a life free of hardship, but those who have learned to be the calm anchor in their own stormy seas.
Stress is far more than just a feeling of being overwhelmed or anxious. It is a potent physiological response, an ancient survival mechanism designed to help us fight or flee from immediate life-threatening danger. When your brain perceives a threat, whether it's a saber-toothed tiger in prehistoric times or a looming medical bill today, it triggers a cascade of hormones, most notably cortisol and adrenaline.
Your heart rate skyrockets, your blood pressure climbs, your breathing quickens, and your muscles tense, preparing you for action. This response is incredibly useful in a short-term crisis. However, in our modern world, many of our stressors are not short-term crises, but chronic, low-grade worries that keep this alarm system simmering on the back burner day in and day out. This state of chronic stress is profoundly damaging to the body and dramatically accelerates the aging process. Elevated cortisol levels over long periods can lead to a host of problems. It can suppress the immune system, making you more susceptible to infections and illnesses. It contributes to inflammation, which is now understood to be a root cause of many chronic diseases, including heart disease, arthritis, and even certain cancers. It can disrupt sleep patterns, interfere with digestion, and lead to an accumulation of dangerous visceral fat around the organs. In essence, living in a constant state of stress is like constantly revving a car's engine in the red zone. Eventually, the machinery begins to break down. The seniors who have mastered calm resilience have learned to deactivate this alarm system. They have developed the emotional and psychological tools to acknowledge a stressor without letting it hijack their entire physiology. They can face a challenge with a sense of equanimity, preventing the harmful spikes in stress hormones that wear down the body's vital systems. This ability protects their physical health, preserves their mental clarity, and fortifies their overall well-being. Let's visit Grace, a 79-year-old grandmother living in a small coastal town in Maine. Grace has faced her share of life's tempests. She navigated her husband's long illness and subsequent passing, she worries about her children who live far away, and she manages her own chronic arthritis. On paper, her life has plenty of reasons for stress. Yet, anyone who meets Grace is struck by her serene presence and her gentle, unshakable calm. Her secret is a daily, non-negotiable practice of mindfulness and deep breathing that she began decades ago. Every morning, before the day's demands begin, Grace sits in a comfortable chair by her window, closes her eyes, and spends 15 minutes focusing on her breath. She doesn't try to stop her thoughts or clear her mind. Instead, she simply observes them as they arise, a worry about a bill, a memory of her husband, a plan for the day. And then gently, without judgment, returns her focus to the simple physical sensation of her breath moving in and out. This simple practice has trained her brain to have a different relationship with her thoughts. She has learned that she is not her thoughts. She is the observer of her thoughts. This creates a space, a buffer, between a stressful thought and her emotional reaction to it. When a wave of anxiety hits during the day, perhaps after a difficult phone call or when her arthritis is particularly painful, Grace has a tool. She can pause, take 3 slow, deep breaths, and feel her nervous system begin to downshift. She credits this practice not only with keeping her blood pressure in a healthy range, but also with allowing her to be a more present and loving grandmother. When she's with her family, she isn't lost in a fog of worry. She is truly there, able to listen, laugh, and connect. Her calm presence is a gift to everyone.
Managing stress with resilience also involves cognitive techniques. It's about changing the stories we tell ourselves about the challenges we face. This is the core of what psychologists call cognitive reframing. Instead of viewing a setback as a catastrophe, a resilient person learns to see it as a challenge to be met, an opportunity for growth, or simply a temporary difficulty that will pass. It's the difference between thinking, "This is awful, I can't handle it," and thinking, "This is difficult, but I have handled difficult things before, and I will find a way through this." This shift in perspective is not about naive optimism. It is a learned skill of self-compassion and realistic problem-solving that prevents the mind from spiraling into a state of helpless panic.
Other simple yet powerful practices, like keeping a gratitude journal or spending time in nature, have also been scientifically shown to lower cortisol levels and promote a sense of well-being. The ability to remain calm under pressure is a reflection of a high degree of emotional intelligence and self-awareness. It is a cornerstone of aging with grace and dignity. It empowers seniors to take an active role in their health, to foster stronger relationships unburdened by constant anxiety, and to embrace the journey of aging with a sense of peace rather than fear. The concept of calm resilience is so powerful. If you are finding these insights into stress management valuable, please comment with the number 4 below. We truly appreciate knowing you're here and engaged. And if our content is adding value to your day, please consider subscribing and turning on the notification bell. Your support helps us continue our mission to create meaningful and inspiring content. Let us now explore the 5th essential pillar. The 5th pillar, the lifeblood of deep social connection. As we journey through the pillars of a long and vibrant life, we now arrive at one that is profoundly human and essential to our very nature, the cultivation of strong, meaningful social connections. In a culture that often prizes rugged individualism, the power of community and companionship can be dangerously underestimated. Yet a vast and growing body of research confirms what we intuitively know to be true. Loneliness and social isolation are as detrimental to our health as smoking or obesity. The seniors who thrive into their later years are invariably those who have nurtured a rich social ecosystem, a network of relationships that provides emotional support, mental stimulation, and a deep sense of purpose and belonging. Humans are wired for connection. From an evolutionary perspective, our survival as a species depended on our ability to live and work together in tribes. Our brains evolved to be social brains, with large portions of our neural architecture dedicated to understanding, empathizing with, and connecting to others. When we are socially engaged, our brains release a cocktail of beneficial neurochemicals, including oxytocin, often called the bonding hormone, which promotes feelings of trust, empathy, and well-being. Conversely, when we are isolated, the brain perceives it as a threat, triggering the same kind of stress response we discussed in the previous section. Chronic loneliness has been linked to a higher risk of heart disease, stroke, cognitive decline, dementia, and even premature death. It is a silent epidemic that can be particularly acute among older adults, who may face the loss of a spouse, the scattering of family, and diminishing mobility. Maintaining strong social connections is far more than just having someone to talk to. It is a vital component of a holistic health strategy. Engaging in conversation stimulates the brain, forcing us to listen, process information, and formulate responses, which is a fantastic cognitive workout. Friends and family encourage healthy behaviors. You're more likely to go for that walk, eat a healthy meal, or remember to take your medication if you have a supportive social circle. They provide a crucial emotional buffer during difficult times, a shoulder to cry on, and a source of laughter and joy that can make life's burdens feel lighter.
Let us consider the story of Helen, an 82-year-old retired schoolteacher from a diverse neighborhood in Queens, New York. After her husband passed away and her children moved to the West Coast, Helen found her once bustling house falling silent. The loneliness was a physical ache. She knew she had a choice. She could retreat into her grief and isolation, or she could proactively rebuild her social world. She chose the latter. Drawing on her love of books and her teaching background, she began volunteering 3 days a week at her local public library, helping children with their reading. This one decision had a ripple effect that transformed her life. At the library, she was no longer just Helen, the widow. She was Miss Helen, a valued mentor and a beloved community figure. The daily interactions with the children, their parents, and her fellow library staff kept her mind sharp and her spirits high.
She found joy and purpose in watching a struggling reader finally sound out a difficult word. She made new friends among the other volunteers, a diverse group of people she might never have met otherwise. They started a weekly potluck dinner club, sharing meals and stories from their lives. Helen even embraced technology, learning to use a tablet for video calls so she could see and talk to her grandchildren in California, bridging the physical distance with a virtual connection. Helen's story beautifully illustrates that social connection is an active, ongoing process. It requires effort and initiative. It's about overcoming the inertia of solitude and taking that first step, joining a club, taking a class, volunteering for a cause you believe in, or even just striking up a conversation with a neighbor. For many seniors, barriers like hearing loss or mobility issues can make this challenging. However, as Helen discovered, there are always ways to adapt. Community centers, senior groups, and places of worship offer structured opportunities for connection. And technology, when used mindfully, can be a powerful tool to maintain relationships across distances. The quality of these connections matters more than the quantity. A few deep, authentic relationships are far more beneficial than a large number of superficial acquaintances. It's about having people in your life with whom you can be your true self, share your vulnerabilities, and celebrate your joys. Nurturing these bonds is a skill, a reflection of emotional intelligence and resilience. It involves being a good listener, showing empathy, and being willing to both give and receive support. It is a continuous investment in the emotional bank account of your life. Prioritizing social bonds is one of the most powerful investments you can make in your long-term health and happiness. It is a reminder that we are not meant to navigate the journey of life alone. We are meant to thrive in a community, to be woven into a rich tapestry of relationships. The laughter shared over a cup of coffee, the comfort of a friend's hand, the sense of shared purpose in a community project, these are not just pleasant moments, they are the very lifeblood of a long and meaningful life. Do you have any experiences with building or maintaining social connections later in life, either for yourself or for a loved one? Don't hesitate to share your story or a helpful tip in the comments section. We'd love to hear it. Your experiences can provide invaluable encouragement to someone who might be feeling isolated.
The sixth pillar, the unseen engine of a positive outlook. We have now explored the foundational pillars of physical grace, mental acuity, consistent movement, emotional resilience, and social connection. Our final pillar is perhaps the most intangible, yet it acts as the unseen engine that powers all the others, the cultivation of a positive mindset. This is not about a naive, Pollyanna-ish refusal to acknowledge life's difficulties. Rather, it is about a deeply ingrained habit of optimism, gratitude, and a forward-looking perspective that fundamentally shapes an individual's experience of aging and their overall health outcomes. Seniors who maintain this resiliently positive outlook tend to navigate the inevitable challenges of aging more successfully, recover from setbacks more quickly, and find more joy in their daily lives. The connection between mindset and physical health is no longer the stuff of New Age philosophy. It is a field of robust scientific inquiry. Studies from institutions like the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health have shown a direct correlation between optimism and exceptional longevity. People with a more positive outlook have lower rates of cardiovascular disease, better immune function, and reduced levels of systemic inflammation. But how can a thought or an attitude have such a profound physical effect? The mechanism works through several pathways.
Firstly, a positive mindset acts as a direct buffer against the toxic effects of stress that we discussed earlier. An optimist is more likely to appraise a stressful situation as a temporary challenge rather than a permanent catastrophe, which leads to a less severe and shorter-lived physiological stress response. They generate less cortisol and experience less of the associated wear and tear on their bodies. Secondly, a positive outlook directly influences behavior. Someone who believes their actions matter is far more likely to engage in healthy habits. They are the ones who will make the effort to go for that walk, choose the salad over the fries, and adhere to their medical treatments because they fundamentally believe in a better future and their ability to contribute to it. A pessimist, on the other hand, might think, "What's the point? I'm old anyway," and let healthy habits slide. Let's return to one of our earlier characters, James, the 79-year-old retired engineer. We'll imagine he is a different James, one who is managing chronic arthritis. This condition could easily be a source of constant negativity and complaint. Many people in his situation would focus on what they can no longer do, the long hikes, the vigorous tennis games of their youth. But this James has cultivated a different perspective. He consciously chooses to focus on what he can do. His mantra, which he repeats to himself on difficult mornings, is "Motion is lotion." He knows that gentle movement helps his joints, so he celebrates his ability to do his daily stretching routine or to work in his raised bed garden for an hour. A key part of his practice is a simple gratitude journal he keeps by his bedside. Every night before sleeping, he writes down 3 specific things that he was thankful for that day. They are never grand things. One day it might be the taste of the first cup of coffee in the morning, a phone call with my daughter where we just laughed, and the feeling of the sun on my walk during my walk. This simple 5-minute exercise has rewired his brain to scan for the positive. It trains his attention away from the chronic pain and toward the small, consistent joys of his life. This doesn't magically cure his arthritis, but it dramatically changes his experience of living with it. It reduces his perception of pain, improves his sleep, and fills him with a sense of quiet contentment rather than bitter resentment.
This practice of cultivating a positive mindset also builds what psychologist Carol Dweck calls a growth mindset. This is the belief that our abilities and qualities are not fixed, but can be developed through dedication and hard work. A senior with a fixed mindset might think, "I'm too old to learn how to use a computer." A senior with a growth mindset would think, "This is challenging, but if I take a class or ask my grandson for help, I can figure it out." This attitude is crucial for adaptability and continued engagement with the world. It keeps life interesting and prevents the mental stagnation that can so often accompany aging. It is vital to distinguish this healthy, resilient optimism from toxic positivity. A positive mindset does not mean ignoring or suppressing negative emotions. It is perfectly normal and healthy to feel sad after a loss or frustrated by a physical limitation. The key difference is that a resilient individual allows themselves to feel these emotions without letting them become their entire reality. They acknowledge the rain, but they also trust that the sun will eventually come out again. They don't get stuck in the mud of despair. They process the negative emotion and then consciously, deliberately pivot back toward gratitude, problem-solving, and hope. Cultivating this outlook is a skill honed through conscious daily practice. It can involve mindfulness, gratitude journaling, positive affirmations, or simply making a conscious effort to reframe negative self-talk. It is about choosing to be the author of your own internal narrative, focusing on stories of strength, resilience, and joy.
This positive attitude is magnetic. It draws others in and strengthens the social connections we know are so vital. It is the invisible force that makes someone a pleasure to be around, fostering the very relationships that sustain us. A positive mindset is the engine that drives a person to practice their balance, challenge their memory, stay active, manage their stress, and reach out to others. It is the foundational belief that life at every stage is a gift to be cherished and lived to the fullest. We've now explored the sixth and final pillar. If this discussion on the power of a positive mindset has brought you a valuable perspective, please comment with the number 6 below to let us know you've journeyed with us to the end. And if you haven't yet, this is a perfect moment to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Your support fuels our passion for creating content that truly makes a difference. As we draw this deep exploration to a close, what stands out to you the most from these 6 interwoven pillars of a long and vibrant life? Was it the quiet physical confidence of unwavering balance? The luminous identity-shaping power of a clear memory? The simple daily rhythm of consistent physical activity? The profound peace of a calm, resilient anchor in life's storms? The life-giving warmth of deep social connection, or the unseen, powerful engine of a positive outlook? Take a moment to reflect. Which of these qualities do you recognize in yourself, and which do you feel called to cultivate more intentionally? Thinking about these 6 abilities is far more than an academic exercise or a simple checklist. It is an invitation to look at the process of aging not as a path of inevitable decline, but as a canvas upon which we can consciously create a masterpiece of vitality. So many people in our society hold the limiting belief that age automatically curtails what is possible. But as we have seen through the stories of James, Martha, Henry, Grace, and Helen, the individuals who master these foundational skills are the very ones who defy expectations, remaining dynamic, engaged, and joyful well into their 80s, 90s, and beyond. Their lives are a powerful and inspiring testament to the fact that our bodies and minds are profoundly malleable, ready to be shaped by the daily choices we make and the attitudes we hold, regardless of what the calendar says.
The beauty of these pillars is their interconnectedness. They are not 6 separate tasks to be checked off, but a holistic system where each element supports and enhances the others. When you commit to a daily walk, Pillar 3, you are simultaneously improving your balance, Pillar 1, boosting the flow of oxygen and BDNF to your brain to support your memory, Pillar 2, releasing endorphins that improve your mood and build a positive outlook, Pillar 6, and creating opportunities for social interaction if you walk with a friend, Pillar 5. A practice of mindfulness to manage stress, Pillar 4, sharpens your focus, which in turn aids your memory, Pillar 2, and helps you maintain a positive, grateful perspective, Pillar 6. It is a beautiful, upward spiral where one small positive change creates momentum for others. I encourage you to not feel overwhelmed by this information, but to feel empowered. You do not need to tackle all 6 pillars at once. Simply choose one, just one. Perhaps today you will take 5 minutes to practice standing on one foot while you brush your teeth. Maybe you will call that old friend you've been meaning to reconnect with. Or perhaps tonight, before you sleep, you will write down 3 small things you are grateful for. These are not monumental efforts. They are small, humble steps. But when taken consistently, day after day, they are the steps that lead to profound and lasting transformation in your health, your happiness, and your longevity. Remember, the ultimate goal is not just about adding more years to your life, but about adding more life, more vitality, and more joy to your years.
The road to 100, or whatever your personal finish line may be, is paved not with luck, but with resilience, curiosity, gratitude, and the unwavering willingness to keep moving forward, both literally and figuratively, despite the challenges. By embracing these 6 abilities, you are not just hoping for a better future, you are actively building it, one conscious choice at a time. You are investing in the most precious asset you will ever own, your own well-being. Thank you for joining us on this in-depth journey today. We have covered a great deal of ground, and your attention and engagement are deeply appreciated. After all this analysis, what is the single most important lesson you are taking away for yourself? Let us know your biggest insight in the comments below. Your thoughts are incredibly important to us, and reading your comments gives us the motivation and encouragement to continue this work. If you enjoyed this article and found it helpful, please show your support by hitting the like button, subscribing to the channel, and sharing it with someone who might benefit from this message. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire. Thank you for watching and for being a part of this community. We look forward to seeing you in the next video.